right. What's up, everyone? Good evening. Great evening.
What's
Yes.
going on, everybody? I'm sorry, we got some light out here. We're just trying to get some light. Light
Yes.
is going out on us a little bit here, sun going down. But otherwise, welcome. It's a nice Sunday. We're out
Yes.
here chilling. Had a long day, but a great day nonetheless.
Definitely.
Definitely an amazing day, great day. And we're just here to share a little bit as normal.
Yes.
Um, Getting into the groove of this every week live. I'll be honest, y'all, it's a little different, but we're getting there. We're getting there. So work with us,
Yes.
family. And thank you for all of our new subscribers. Welcome, y'all.
Yes.
Welcome
Definitely.
to y'all. Definitely, we appreciate the support. And please don't feel afraid or ashamed or whatever. Reach out, ask questions. We appreciate the engagement. No question is a dumb question. And shout out to everybody that does ask questions or even engages with us in any capacity, even just watching. That's
Yes.
cool too. Appreciate the love and love back to you. So, anywho, today we are definitely going to be diving into kind of tapping into nature. Like, what is nature and tapping into it? So, obviously, we're outside. We got some nature behind us.
Yes. Look beautiful though.
Absolutely got a few palm
Yes.
trees and little hibiscus and of course some herbs and spices and some other things out there. I have veggies and of course good things, great things and good things. But we're here to kind of convene with nature. Nature is the essence of life itself. It's kind of our
Yes.
example. It's kind of how we know what to do when we need to do it, um, and at the time, obviously, that we got to do it at. So,
Mm-hmm.
just being in communion and observant or acknowledgement of nature is
Yes.
one thing that I know we want to start doing a little more of if you haven't already started. So I know, like, for me, like daily, one thing that I do like to do, and even if I can't do it as long as I want to do, I definitely try to step outside. First thing after I wake up for a little bit, go ahead and get out there, get a few sun rays, even if it's just watering the plants or whatnot, and then coming back in, having to get ready to go and get ready for the day. But just taking that time, that little piece of time, whether it's 30 seconds, a minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever you can take, an hour, whatever you can take, um, is beneficial for you. It works for your benefit and
Yes.
to your benefit.
Yes.
So I think that there was a question that we had actually. Shout out to Missy Pooh. Shout out, girl. Shout out. Appreciate the question, honey.
Definitely. Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely. And it was
Or
an excellent question,
yes.
actually. On the video, let me see what's the name of the video. But on the video that you posted um, a
Short.
few days ago, last week. You posted the video. Yep, it's a short you posted last week. We got a question. The question was, why do people think that you don't believe in God or look at you with the side eye when you tap into the environment or begin to burn sage and light candles? Now, that's an excellent question. That's an
Great question.
absolutely excellent question
Yes.
because
Definitely.
I think the main thing there would be people just don't understand or they don't know, and people are normally afraid of what they don't know, the fear of the unknown.
Mm-hmm.
So something that people don't know or they're not knowledgeable about or they've been misinformed about will help them form a precognition before they even understand what it is that's going on in that essence. So I mean, nature itself is here to help. It's not here to hurt. It's an example. It's We are
Yes.
one with everything that expresses itself. As far as God and being for the great and the good. And although sometimes we express ourselves in the opposite direction, it's always positive to try to realign and make, well, not even try to realign. You don't try
Mm-hmm.
it. We always say you don't try. I
You
don't know where
do.
that word came from,
Yes.
but you don't
Definitely.
try. You do, and you realign yourself, and you make sure that you are in line and aligned with where it is you're trying to go
Mm-hmm.
and what it is and who it is you are. Because I think so oftentimes we do get thrown off track by questions and people and different things that come up throughout the day. And it's like, oh my gosh, like, how do I react to that? But again, we always have the power in reaction. We don't have to react. We may feel something. Yeah, it's an
Yes.
emotional response, but we do have the choice to react how we want to act, and sometimes we want to act out, you know what I mean? We want to act up, but that may not always be the best response. And
Yes.
every now and then maybe it is,
Mm-hmm.
every once in a blue moon. But for the fact of being an example and being a leader and really just being in alignment with the law of higher alignment and truth and purpose and natural law,
Mm-hmm.
you know um you always that's nature doesn't bend. It's not some timing. It does what it does. The seasons
Always.
come, they
Yes.
go dependably. The sun rises and it sets dependably. It's not something that we guess is going to happen every day. We depend on that. So there are certain things in nature and laws that are set beyond us, or far beyond our measure, that have been set here by the source, by God. So whatever it is that you operate in, operating within those mediums at least, um, and checking yourself to make sure that you're operating within those mediums. Um, it's an interesting thing. It's a real interesting thing because you mentioned a few things there, Missy. So you mentioned, the burning of the sage and the candles, which we know as spiritual people. Now we starting to talk elemental, right? We talking water, we talking fire, we talking air, we talking earth. We're talking elements and the spiritual element, or even fifth ether. The elements per se is what of creation. You know, this is what. So when we break God down, I guess, well, you don't break it down, but when we start to analyze, I'll say, or look beyond and look within,
Yes.
we find that there are base elements and there are base things that support how we can find proof in the things that people say, okay, there's no proof to this just, blind belief. And it may be some things are beyond our understanding or our concept, but that's not to say that there aren't things or people that do understand them.
Yes.
So it's just, when something is out of your realm of understanding, we tend to disregard it, or we tend to dismiss it because it's not something that we can identify with. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's wrong or good or bad, or something that even, it don't even mean that's something that you should do, just because you hear it. But I think the bigger thing here is to understand that anything that's set in nature is set with source. So although there are good things and bad things in nature, sure, there are things in nature that can harm you. um and you're using your best judgment with these things, right? You're not just out here doing whatever you want to do and willy-nilly whatever. You're using your judgment, you're using your intuition, you're using your guidance, your inner guidance, your God guidance, God-given guidance. You're using that. So your connection, you're using that constantly every day. You're never disconnected. So it's, when you're tapping into that essence and that nature and you're being that person, things tend to go a little differently. You tend to look at things from a different perspective. um, you don't tend to be so fearful, I'll
Mm-hmm.
say, when you understand the connection between where we are and who you are and the things around you.
Yes.
Like, I mean, I think it's not it's not so much of a foreign concept because we live every day depending, again, like I said, nature is all around us. The air we breathe comes from trees. It's something that we depend on. It's a mutual relationship. We have to
Mm-hmm.
respect it, and vice versa, it respects us, just out of its very nature of what it is, and what it emanates at, how it vibrates, so it's a mutual relationship there, and it has to be honored. But I know so often we're taught to disrespect nature. We're taught that cutting down the tree doesn't mean anything. We're taught that squashing this bug or that bug is
Yes.
just pest control, which in some cases it may be. Not everything, again, not everything carries a more so positive energy, and some things may need to be exterminated. But then there are other things that do um, need to be addressed, or they need to be paid attention to. And it might just be a symbol, it might be a sign for you to pay attention to something at that time in your life.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. I mean, to go back to the question, like you said earlier, it's a. I think I mean, for us, that is like a perspective. I mean, perspective of how you feel. I mean, and and which angle that you or other people are looking at things. Everybody are looking at things in different angles. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So therefore, it's just like the 6 and the 9. You know what I mean? Different. You know what I mean? How you look at it. You know what I mean? A 6 could be a 9, or a 9 could be a 6. It's different. Depends on which angle that you are
Standing
looking.
below, above, on the
Yes,
side, definitely.
you are looking at things. So I mean, people will always, you know what I mean, turn a blind eyes or look, you know what I mean, look at you differently, you know what I mean, based on uh their understanding of things, you know what I mean? Because like everything that when you don't know something, you know what I mean, you're not gonna just react, you know what I mean, so
Mm-hmm.
pleasant to it or and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Mm-hmm.
based on how, you know what I mean,
Exposure.
yeah, exposure,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean, because people judge things on what they heard
Yep.
mostly,
Yep.
you know what I mean,
Yep.
not even
What
what they
they
really
know.
know,
You
you know what I
right.
mean.
Oh,
So
yes, you're right.
um I'm sure like the, you know what I mean, the creator will not wouldn't create something that's really going like that for us not to have the knowledge of the use of it, you know what I mean, just like
Absolutely.
these
That's yes.
these things that's poison, right?
Mm-hmm.
These leaf or trees or even vines that's are poisons.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know they are poison, you know what I mean, you use them, it might hurt you, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you know that is poison, I'm not going to use it. But in us also,
Knowledge
when
is
we,
power.
yeah, when we're using something, we have to know exactly like why we're using it for and the understanding of it, you know what I mean, why, the effect, you know what I mean, and everything. So we have to study even the things that we do, you know what I mean. We don't just do things just because we heard something is good and we just do it without no knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. And so to go back to the burning of the sage, like sage, it's a plant, grows outside. It's good for you. It's good to put in your food. It's good to eat.
Hmm.
And even to burn to cleanse your home. You know what I mean? This is like when it releases
Insect.
actual antibiotic, microbial, it releases these things
Hmm.
to help literally clean your home and also spiritually clean your home. So, I think we people attach too much stigma to some things sometimes.
Yes.
Sometimes it's just, again, not knowing. It's just like, oh, well, I've heard that this is witchcraft. What do I do? It's like, bro, it's a plant. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what
Yes.
are we really talking about? Like, you know what I mean? Now, again, your intent
Hmm.
is everything. I don't care if you flying a kite with the intent to do some harm, you may just do it.
Yeah.
Your intent is everything. So, I
Hmm.
mean, if you burning some sage and you intending to burn down the house, it may just happen. You know what I mean? Like that may happen, but it's like, if you're doing it with an intention, of cleansing, of, whatever great intention or, building, whatever it is you're trying to do, then, your intent is everything.
Definitely.
We have God spark within us. That's in us, to create. So
Yes.
whatever you're putting your time and energy into is what's being manifested. That's what's being created. So, be mindful of that. You have a part to play too.
Hmm.
It's not just things are happening. Nothing's ever just happening.
Yes.
Take responsibility and accountability. Like things are happening because of how you are responding to life and how life is responding to you. It's again a mutual relationship. So finding that balance is a great thing. You know what I mean? It's a great
Yes.
thing. But
Yes.
again, I think people just tend to be um, afraid or not open to or not willing to um, investigate. It
Yes.
could be just
Yes.
sometimes pure laziness. People just don't want to investigate different things, or they don't care to know. They're happy where they're at, and that's okay.
Lack of understanding.
That's okay too. Some people are okay where they're at. They're like, I don't really want to know all of this stuff. I'm happy thinking this is what it is, and that's how I was raised, and that's what it is. It's like okay, and that's fine. Like, that is a okay. Whatever works for you is what you're here to do. If that's
Yes.
working for you, you continue to do that. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
That's the thing. If it's working for you, do it. But if there's ever any question or any doubt or anything, like, what I mean, there's another stigma. Like I know, at least in our churches, not to ask any questions. You know, you just. I'm not sure. I've never understood that relationship. You can't ask God any questions, like because it's a relationship. Like,
Yes. I
how am
mean,
I supposed to get to know and understand what's going on around me and what's happening in my life if I'm not even allowed to ask? You know what I mean? Like it just
yes.
doesn't make sense. A lot of these things we have been taught do not make sense. And when you really get a personal relationship and understand who you are and really honor that connection between yourself, source, and of course nature, the things that we every day dwelling in and walking in and maneuvering in, then you get a little bit of a different perspective. Things
Yes.
become a little bit clearer. Some things
Hmm.
don't seem so taboo. They don't seem so outlandish or so crazy. You know what I mean?
Yes.
People been lighting candles forever. People been lighting candles just to get around the house
Yeah,
sometimes.
I
You know
mean
what I mean? It's not
before
like
electricity, what
what
people use,
how
I mean,
did
to
that
get
be
around. Like, how do people think candles are created, or
I
I mean,
mean like
or even the sage, or I mean, any other plants, how they create. I mean, people don't just burn sages. People burn all type of incense.
absolutely even sometimes it was to smell good, make the house
Yes,
smell good, like
yes.
burn flowers,
I
like it's
mean,
just it's so many different things that have gotten misconstrued and added their own twist. And again, all this is back to intention.
mhm.
What you intend to do with it. Somebody say I intended to do this with it, and somebody took it and ran with it because they didn't understand it. And
Yes,
it's like so many other things outside of our realm of what it is we know, or what is we think we know, what we've been exposed to, because that's our realm of knowing, really, is what we've been exposed to. That doesn't mean that other things aren't true. It just means we don't know about them.
yes, yes.
But and once we can understand that aspect and respect life in that form and nature, life gets a little bit clearer. You
Hmm.
don't have to, again, you don't have to even adopt everything that comes your way. Take time to look at it. Take time to let your spirit see what's really going on with it. Feel it out.
Decide,
See if you
yeah.
vibe with it. If you don't vibe with it, leave it alone. It's not for
Hmm.
you. If you like, I'm curious, look into it. Do a little
Yes,
research. You know
yes,
what I mean?
yes.
And what you'll find may surprise you. So, I think again that was a great question. Much appreciated, sister. I appreciate
Yes,
you, my
yes,
love.
yes, yes.
Definitely, definitely, definitely. Yeah, that's why though. That's at least in my opinion. I can't speak for everybody, but
Hmm.
for me, it's just I think people just don't know. They
Yes.
don't understand. They're not even curious to know, and that's okay too. Like I said, I'm not here to. It doesn't matter. Wherever you are is where you are and where you're
Hmm.
supposed to be. You
Definitely,
know.
definitely. And yeah, like we said, thank you very much for the questions. Like we said already, thank you everybody who's in the chat right now, who's on
Yes.
the live, who's
Yes.
watching the
Oh,
live.
we got a few people in there.
Share the
Okay.
live, share the live, okay, share the live, help us reach a couple other people. You know what I mean? So whoever that this message or whatever we're discussing right now might be good for. You know what I mean? Share the live, and thank you very much for being here. And
Absolutely.
it's a great day today, like we said. You know what I
Beautiful
mean?
day.
And we have a lot of things that we want to talk about. You know what I mean? So thank you for being here. And if you have anything else, so you can put it in the comment
Definitely.
also. You know what
Put
I
it in the
mean?
chat.
Comment. You know what I mean? Let us know who watching us, who with us. You know what I mean? It's good also you interact with us that we know what's going on. So shout out to
Or just chill
everybody.
and watch if you want to. That's
Yes,
cool too.
definitely,
But
definitely,
if you have a question, if you want to know anything, got a question, or just curious, hey, we're here for that.
definitely.
But I do appreciate the fact that that's something that a lot of people are curious about. A lot of people are
Hmm.
curious about our spirituality, because again, and when we look back at the extent of religion, at least with our culture, the culture here, in America, I know a few years, 200, 300, 400 years, that's the extent, and the earth is so much larger and
Older,
older than
yeah.
that. Like, it's like it's time itself, like, millions, billions, trillions of years old. And so when we talk about that little microsecond of a few hundred years and what we have been taught versus maybe even being exposed. See, and that's the thing, to being exposed to other cultures. Like, that's why I
Yes,
appreciate you
yes,
so
yes.
much, because sometimes when you're exposed to other cultures, and even prior to meeting you, I
Hmm.
mean, I had been exposed to other cultures, but I mean, just in a personal relationship, it's a real unity. And I really appreciate and love that. I love you for that, sweetheart.
Yes, I love you too,
Definitely.
baby.
Yes, yes.
All right.
But it's like, when you start to meet other people, you realize everybody doesn't operate like you do. And that doesn't necessarily make them wrong, because they was brought up the same way you were by their parents. They taught them this. They taught them this was right and that was wrong. And it may differ from what you were taught what was right or wrong. So you know,
Yes.
who's to say, oh, this person is
This
more right
wrong.
than this
Yeah.
person, or that person is more right than this person? Unless you're God again, then I guess you can deem that. But otherwise, you decide for yourself. This is where your vibration comes in, and your peace of God does come into you.
Yes.
What you make, and you dictate your situation and understand, like, okay, I have the sense and knowledge, thank goodness, that has been given to me to say this is not good for me,
Yes.
or to say that this is something I want to explore a little bit more on. You know what I mean? And know that that's okay. Like, that's what life is about. Life is about learning. How do we progress? Again, you come with nothing,
You live with
you leave with nothing.
that. definitely.
You don't come with any money. You don't come with anything tangible. You don't come with clothes. You don't come with anything. So life really can't be about this stuff. Life has to be about intangible things like love and forgiveness and a growth.
Hmm.
Life has to be about these intangible things. So at the end, when there's nothing else you're taking with you, at the end, you know what I mean. What have you learned? What have you grown from? What have you
Hmm.
experienced?
Yes.
It's a little deeper than kind of what we have been taught. You know what I mean? A lot. It seems real surface level when we're talking about, you got to just kind of get up, go to work, get a job, get married, have kids, whatever, graduation, and then whatever. Like, you know what I mean? That's mundane life. But life is so much more than that. Like, there's so many more aspects to life. There's so much more to experience. Like, life every day changes and life is speaking to us every day.
Hmm.
But if we're only in that mundane mindset, we're only in the get up, we're only in that day to day, you miss half of what life is even throwing at you. Like, you miss half of these signs, these wake up calls. You know what I mean? Like, you see them, but you probably don't even pay attention to them.
Because I
You know
mean,
what I
if
mean?
you're already programmed to certain aspect, you know what I mean, certain ways,
There it
you
is.
know what I mean, certain things might just fly over your head or pass by your face, your eye, you don't even see it, you know what I mean? And like we're talking about nature. So if we look at nature, you know what I mean, nature can teach us everything that we want to know that, you know what I mean, how to live, you know what I mean? Because nature
Easily.
itself live in abundance, you know what I
The
mean?
example.
So the trees don't have no enemies. The trees don't have no, you know what I mean? The grass and all that, you step on them, they don't tell you to, you know what I mean, get your feet off me and nothing like that, you know what I mean? So if we look at how nature operate, even you know what I mean, certain things in nature, you know what I mean, certain animals and all that, you know what I mean, it's different than how we operate, you know what I mean? But in a way that when I say if we look at nature, you know what I mean, we can live how we supposed to live is because like if we see it's not just oh say I'm natural, I go natural, you know, like you know what I mean, the trend was before recently, you know what I mean, everybody going natural,
Yeah, it's a
natural,
nature
natural.
trend right
It's
now.
not it's
Yeah,
not
it's
like
gonna be going on for a few years actually,
yeah, it's
according
not a
to
clothes, you know what I
astrology
mean?
and the stars.
Being natural, you know what I mean? Natural is not a clothes that you just wear, you know what I mean?
It's a lifestyle.
It's a whole lifestyle, you know what I mean?
Yes.
From the how you go to sleep to how you eat and everything, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because like if we look at the whole thing within nature, how they operate, we're the only creatures like, you know what I mean? Beside us, like who do things different outside of nature. You know what I mean? We go exactly the opposite way of nature.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? The birds, the uh livestock and all that, you know what I mean? The ants, the insects and all that, they live in according to nature. Even
Yes.
in the wild, the lions, the you know what
Natural
I mean,
law.
wild beasts, all they live according to nature,
Mm-hmm.
to that same cycle nature live. We the only creature, you know what I mean? Like I said, only one that's leave us out there. You know what I mean? We don't sleep on time. We don't eat on time. We don't eat the right things. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And we walking around. Oh, I'm natural. I went natural. I'm this and that because we let our hair grow and you know what I mean and all
It's
that.
another
That's not
trend.
just
Yeah.
what it is.
It's
You know what I mean?
spiritual.
Being natural is just not.
I like the trend though. I do
You
like
feel
the
me?
trend. I'm glad it's catching on, and I hope a lot of people stick with this. After the time passes, that it's trendy. Because it is a lifestyle. It's a life change. It's something how you should operate and teach your children to operate. This is lineage. When you're talking about generational wealth, you're talking about generational building. This is it. You need
Hmm.
to be instilling this stuff with your kids. You know what I mean? Because the money can change. They,
Yes,
talking about
any day.
changing money now to Bitcoin and all these other invisible coins.
Hmm.
So the invisicoin is what they need to call it. But like it's those intangible things. You know what I mean? Even though that's intangible, it's intangible things that we're teaching. You know what I mean? These spiritual lessons that we are freeing ourselves and the ones that's coming after us with, and that we're helping to grow. Ourselves and communities with. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Helping to move forward as spiritual beings, our spiritual bodies. You know what I mean? Our spiritual family. Everybody, and again, they don't have to necessarily look like you or be your same complexion, but if the spirit vibrates, it is what it is. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like, we have to learn that difference also.
Hmm.
I do know it's a lot of commotion, especially here in Florida right now, y'all. It's a lot going on. It's a lot, and it's a lot of division. But let's not let that tear us apart from what our spiritual mission is, because
Yes.
quite frankly, if you are on a higher vibration to do good in this world, that's all that really matters. at the end of the day.
Yes.
If you're on a higher vibration of love, and I mean, however you express yourself, whether it be through art or, your hands, you work with something or whatever your purpose is here,
Hmm.
to express or be of service to others, let's not let that divide us by some of these surface level things, because again, it's so much deeper than that. Again, it's just so much deeper. What is the verse about? We don't It's not for flesh that we toil against, but
No.
spirits and principalities.
Yes.
It's things going on. That this flesh is really just the spirit animates the flesh. So the flesh is really just out here doing what the
Yeah. The
spirit inside of it is ordaining it to do.
and the flesh is weak also. You know what I mean. And some of the time the flesh might influence. You know what I mean. The spirits of doing things. You know what I mean. Because sometimes when you're not doing things in according right to your spirit, the right things to your spirit, you have this voice that telling you this is wrong, this is right, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is right, and
That
stuff
inner
like that. And
inner
then
voice, inner
once
intuition.
once you don't listen to the voice that really like matters, like you identify, because you have to identify also. You know what I
Hmm.
mean, with voice that you have to listen
Get
to,
to know it.
because both is within you, right? This noise is within you, these wars that's going on, you know what I mean? Negative wars, positive wars. So you have to know how to identify which is good and which is bad.
Yes.
Then you know what I'm saying? So it's just that though, like, you know what I mean, we just gotta really be like mindful of, you know what I mean, the things that we do, and see how nature works though, like study ourselves also, because we're part of nature. You
Hmm.
know what I mean, whether we know it or not or understand it, you know what I mean, we just like a tree. You know what I
Yes.
mean, only difference is we can move around, you know what I mean, but we still have the same things that a tree have. You know what I mean? The chemicals that form the trees or the cells, whatever. You know what I mean? Stuff like that.
They the same
So
elements.
elements, the
Hmm.
elements, yes, the elements. So we just had to understand. You know what I mean? How things work. Like
Well, even what you said about identifying, being able to identify, the difference there, and really, because what that helps to do is form a pattern in your mind.
yes,
The more you can identify the good and the positive and what it is you're wanting to do. Okay, this is in alignment with what I want to do. This is in alignment with my purpose. This is in alignment with the good, the greater. You know what I mean? And it's really just that simple. Actually, when we boil it down, it's very simple. When you ask yourself a question: Is this helping me, or is it either keeping me in the same place or hurting? And
hmm,
if it ain't helping, you probably don't need to be doing it if
yes,
you're trying to move forward. You know, that's just the cut and dry answer there. It's a point here, and see, well, I don't want to go too far into, because then we'd be having to here for another 3 hours. But spirituality, just every culture, is good to understand, not even necessarily adopt, but understand different cultures and different things. The best, Nas, the best. Tupac. Oh yeah, Tupac was a great. Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. Great mind, great thinker. You know what I mean, and influential beyond generations.
yes, yes. And welcome. Nice the best.
Yes,
That's
welcome,
the
welcome,
best.
welcome, welcome,
I'm
brother, welcome.
yeah. If this is the first time you here, you know what I mean. Thank you, and yeah, definitely repack.
Yeah,
You know what
if
I
he's
mean.
dead,
If
I
it's
don't know.
dead,
They say he's
yeah.
still
So
alive. I don't
yeah,
know. I
we
don't know,
don't
Nas. I don't know, brother.
we don't want
He
to go
might.
too much
I
into
don't
you know what I
know.
mean, conspiracy theories. You know
Right,
what I'm saying,
right.
but
I don't know, man.
we know what's up though. You know what I mean.
Yeah,
Yeah. Live on. You know what I mean.
definitely,
Yeah,
definitely,
yeah. Pac live on
definitely.
regardless.
Long
So
live Pop.
yeah, long live Pac regardless.
What's up? What's up,
Man, what's
brother?
good, man? What's good?
But let me jump back in real quick to yeah.
Yes.
When you're able to identify the good versus what you're working towards versus what you're not, you build more habits towards that, and your brain starts to gateway itself to that. It starts to attract itself to those thoughts, and it's easier for you. It starts to build attraction there,
Hmm.
and it just goes that way. It goes in that motion, and so then it's not always having to question and ask, okay, is this good or is that bad? It's more so you're able to identify it more easily, and it becomes easier. It becomes less of a task and more of a just the system, just how
Hmm.
you work yourself, how you operate, because now you live in that, you operate
Yes.
in that. It's become your life. It's
Hmm.
not something that you're still trying to figure out. This is not where you're trying to go, and you're not even going there. Things of the like, you're able to easily identify, dismiss, and move forward. And half the time, those are our battles in life. We get stuck with roadblocks, and we trying to go back and forth with them, and it's like, no, identify it and move forward. You know what I mean? It's gonna be what it's gonna be. If it's gonna be there, whatever. If not, move forward. Like, there's things we got to choose to do for us, for our betterment, for our well-being, so that we could be
Yes.
better for others around us.
Hmm.
So
Definitely. I mean, it's just like a general thing that, people, it's not just one person, it's all of us in general that's have to have that mindset, and looking at things differently and see, like, everybody, you counter in life is different from yourself, some way, somehow. Whether even though, we are
yes,
made with the same elements and stuff like that, a
we
lot
all
of
different.
things we have a lot of similarities. We have legs, we have feet, we have, my bodies and stuff like that.
Hmm.
But sometimes our mindsets are different.
Hmm. Every
And
time.
then,
Yes,
or
no two people are the same.
it could be, culturally difference,
Yes.
habitations and stuff like that. So what you're being taught home or different places and stuff like that. So we just have to understand, we have to, like, have the understanding of respect,
Yes.
among one another,
Always.
whether we have the same belief and stuff like that,
Viewpoint.
viewpoints and stuff like
Hmm.
that. But at the same time, we have to understand each other, like, it's either culture or point of view, because if you look at it, every, like, we was talking about the 6 and the 9 right early.
Yeah.
So things are angles, people see things different, uh doesn't mean, you wrong or somebody else wrong or somebody is right and stuff like that. Which angle are we looking at things? If we have that, like, understanding, we could say, okay, which level, which angles can I look at this, to see where this person coming from or that person coming from. We all are guilty of, judging of, probably different cultures or different mindset of people without even, like, really, like, take a good
Yep.
sitting down, like, say,
And
okay,
understand.
understanding,
Hmm.
okay, this the
And
angle that,
understand to really understand,
yes,
not just
not
to be
just to,
like,
yeah,
what is it? So I don't like it. Let me
yeah,
make sure. Like, really try to just like, what do I like about this? Like,
yes,
where can I identify? Where can I find connection points is the
yes,
thing.
yes, yes,
It's
yes.
it's more about connecting. And if you find that you're looking for more disconnections in life, then that's probably why your life may be
Hmm.
disconnected. You know what I
Yes.
mean? That you are the energy you carry. You know what I mean? You are. And if you're looking for things to like about people and you're looking for things to love in the world, you'll find them. If you're looking for things to dislike, you can find that too.
Also,
So
yes.
whatever you're focusing on, you'll find more of it. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? But
Definitely.
you are the conduit. You are that piece that gets to focus. You're that antenna. You get to
Hmm.
focus wherever you want to. So, just learn those little pieces for yourself, to start retraining your brain and getting on a more positive level, a more, and even these days, words are so funny. You know what I mean? Say positive. Well, actually, negative ions help you versus it's like,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
well, in the general sense
Sense,
of
yes,
good and greatness. You know what I
yes.
mean? I use the word positive, not
Hmm.
necessarily in the electrical scientific sense, but you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So we just have to begin to do those little things. Look at ourselves, check ourselves, see, am I working and doing things that are supporting where I'm trying to go,
Hmm.
or am I not? Is this action that I'm thinking or doing gonna help me get there? Nope. All right, let me
Yes.
move that. It ain't even helping. It's a waste of time. Let me go to what really matters. You know what I mean? That attraction there. And again, the more you build, the easier it gets, and it becomes a lifestyle. And then you
Hmm.
find that things just start coming, things just start happening. You're like, oh my gosh, how about this happen today? And so and
Yes.
they want us to do. It's like what?
Hmm.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So it's all about attraction. Like, you know what I mean. It's definitely like this is how our Creator made the world. This is how it's based. These are what it's based on, and
Hmm.
and our ancestors knew these things, but
Yes.
somehow throughout the line we've gotten uneducated, miseducated, or forgotten. Just memory loss. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Going through all kinds of whatever it is that
Traumas,
people went
different,
through.
yeah, different changes and stuff like that. Different, because yeah, just like you said, we lost a lot of these abilities that our ancestors had because
Hmm.
a lot of times, people get whipped out of their places. They information got lost,
Hmm.
destroyed, not just
Yeah.
say lost,
Yeah.
let's say destroyed.
Hmm.
So if all this information destroyed, the only thing you can pass it on is by word of mouth, But the thing with that, as generation are changing and stuff like that, a lot of generation, they don't stand on what, you said the ancestors said or was doing or whatever, you know what I mean? So you move to different things, different whatever ideology that
Mm-hmm.
that is present at the moment, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So that's how information got lost because it's just like a household, right? You living you're raising your children, you have a family, raising children, family and stuff like that. Certain rules and laws that you have, you know what I mean, as a family should always pass down somehow, some way. They are good,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Not just any laws, but the good ones
Mm-hmm.
that, you know what I mean, that had to pass down to the
Natural
family
selection.
also.
Yep.
You know
They,
what I mean?
yes, yes.
So
And we naturally do that. You pick up
so
like I like that when I was
you know
coming
what I
up. I want to
mean?
do that with my kids.
So stuff like that. And if you don't do that, things like that lost.
Mm-hmm.
Even the things that you learn inside the home, you know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean, you might lost them.
Oh
So
yeah, I think we as people do that. I think we as people, tend to try to keep what it is that Okay, we do this or we do that. We try to go here or go there. We eat this time. Every Sunday, whatever it may be, whatever your family tradition or something that it is that you like that your family did. Growing up, like you try to pass that down, but unintentionally. Some of those bad things get
yeah,
passed down
get past
too.
it. Yeah.
It's just like, again, unsolved trauma. Like, okay, well, this happened to me, so I'm gonna do it to my kids. It's like, don't be that guy. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Be like, I'm gonna be better. You know what I mean? I understand. Maybe my parents didn't understand. They were raised like that, and they were just doing the best that they could. They didn't understand. They didn't have the knowledge, and didn't know. They just didn't know.
Yes.
So now that I do know, and I can correct that. So let's try to do something different, and that's a clear generational curse break right there. If you're trying to break some generational curses, quote unquote, because all a generational curse is, let's remove some of this mysticism, is a psychological pattern that you have been taught from your parents, and you just keep doing it because they keep doing it, and then your grandparents taught them, and then your parents taught you, and you teach your kids unconsciously. This is
And it
unconscious
gets
behavior.
passed
You don't even
down.
realize you're doing it. You don't realize
Yes.
when you get mad, you start yelling and doing all of this crazy stuff, and now that's bringing some kind of rage into the energy. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like, just unaware. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's the generational pass down. That is the generational curse. There's no
Yes. Yes.
mysticism there. Let's remove that,
Mm-hmm.
because it seems like it's so, again, these are so far-fetched, and then you start saying, oh, it's this all, this is so woo-woo and spiritual and da da da. It's very practical, y'all. It's very practical. It's not anything outside the realm of normal understanding when
No.
we want to understand, and if, again, we tap it into the right places to try to understand. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? So I'll be right back. I'm sorry.
Yes, and understanding is key too, because if you don't understand, like, you know what I mean, you have to always understand things. Though, like trying to get an understanding of things, how things works. You know what I mean? Like if you encounter people instead, you know what I mean. I feel like instead of just judging people based on, you know what I mean, how they talk or how they look or, you know what I mean, and things, ask questions. You know what I mean, how okay, how they think and see in what angle that, you know what I mean, everybody think, because we all, like I say, we all think in different angles, you know what I mean. And like in the Bible they say, angels or whatever, you know what I mean, but it's basically how you think, you know what I mean, where you seen things, how you seen things at, you know what I mean, because like I said, we all have different thoughts, that come in that, you know what I mean, we text in different ways that we was growing up, like brought up, whether it's in the home and stuff like that. So we just gotta be more understandable, you know what I mean, to each other, you know what I mean,
Yes.
and be like in unification, you know what I
Yes. The
mean.
spirit of unity.
Yes, you feel me? Because if we see, like we say, nature, if we see nature, how nature operate, nature have no problem, you know what I mean. The trees, they have no enemies, they grow side by side, you know what I mean, with no issue. So, and I think we as human beings, since we have the higher understandings, you know what I mean, higher understanding, we can do the same too.
Absolutely. 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 And I think once we look for that connection with nature, we find it. So, if you've ever taken any time to just take a walk outside, get some fresh air, sit in the sun, sit in the grass, ground, whatever it may be.
Hmm.
If you find time to do those things, you find, there's a friend in nature. It's not really that scary, or it's not that, it's not the enemy.
Hmm.
Nature is not against us. There is no versus here. It's all unity. We are working together to get to the bigger grander picture here. We are
Yes.
working for a better tomorrow, for growth and for maturity and for, the best and happiness and love. And we're all working for these great things.
Hmm.
That's the only thing we're working towards.
Yes.
So, nature offers that. That's really the only thing it does offer, in retrospect, well, it offers other things also. It's all necessary to cleansing. Even some things we think that nature gives us that may not be the best, like a hurricane, or a thunderstorm. These things are necessary,
Hmm.
and they're necessary to support certain aspects of the seasonal cycle
The elements.
of the elements. So sometimes trees do need to be shaken and they need to be released. And I don't know if you're a gardener or if you're into any kind of you do anything with, if you're arborist, whatever you may do with trees, if you know anything, or you garden or whatever, then there are different ways to help stimulate a tree, even a small plant. You may be able to bend it a little bit. It might help it spurt up, give it more energy, because what the plant does in response to that sending and bending is like, oh gosh, we got to send more energy there. It might need some help. let's
And
let's help it.
and make it more strong too. Make itself more strong.
Absolutely.
Because you know what I mean. The trees have conscience just like us. You know what I mean.
Absolutely.
If you like like you say, the hurricanes or the wind and stuff like that, they are necessary, you know what I mean? Not just for the trees, for us also. Because,
Absolutely.
you know what I mean? We
Cleanses
need,
energy.
and we need that breeze.
Yes. Well, and it does. It cools down certain spots. You know what I
Yes,
mean? It brings
yes.
rain. There's a very logical and understanding to nature that some of us may not understand, or we may understand pieces of it, because our weatherman tells us. But everything is working together. It's all one piece. The weather here versus the weather on the other side of the world. It's all working together. Okay, there's not one independent of the
It
other.
don't
It's a
just happen for
system.
no reason. Yeah,
It works together. It's a part of
yeah.
each other, just like
Yes.
we are a part of God. So, being that we're a part of God and we know nature is the prime example of God's creation with inside of us, like, how do we know that? Like, there's guys, like, you know what I mean? Like, there's no dismissing nature.
Yeah, even inside us, baby, you know what I mean?
We are nature.
We have,
We are nature.
we
Like,
have,
we're nature.
yes,
God, we're
we,
creations, and creators ourselves.
yes.
But we are so in tune, is the thing. We are so in tune with what's around us, what
Hmm.
is here, and again, all we have to do is tap in. That's all we need to do. All we need to do is be knowledgeable of that, acknowledge it, and use it. And you'll realize, I promise you, you will realize, like, once you just start paying attention to it, it's like, oh my gosh. It's almost like, have you ever had a car, or you bought a car and you ain't realized so many people had it until you got it, right?
Hmm. You've
Or
seen it
somebody that had
everywhere.
a car. You're like,
Yeah,
dang, everybody got
yeah.
that car. It's like, it's the same way.
It's the
What you pay
vibration.
attention to,
Yes.
what you pay attention to. Another fun fact here, and then we're gonna get out of here, y'all. Another fun fact: words or things that don't have a word, that maybe you don't know the word for, and you can't identify or place a word to it or label it, almost don't exist. Your mind, your third eye, your physical eyes somehow like filter it out. They almost don't see it.
Mm.
It's still there, it still exists. But a prime example of this would be like some like drainage pipes and different things like that. Some of these things, some things you ride by every day, you don't even see, just because.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And I mean, I have a name for a drainage pipe, but it might be, let's say, some weird thing that's sticking out the side of the road or something like that. And you might have noticed it the first time, then the next day you never saw it again after that. And it's like, again, where your attention and your awareness is, you'll pay attention to it, but you don't even know what it's called, don't know what it is. It's like your mind doesn't even see it. You don't even realize it. Like, it's like a filter. So, as magical as it may seem, and it is magic. I love magic. I love the sense of magic. I like that. I like that.
Mhm.
But unfortunately, this is just normal. It's not
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not so, you know what I mean? Life is magical, and life is, itself,
Natural.
so natural and fun and enchanting, and life is great. Life is beautiful. There are so many things, that life has to offer us when we
Yes.
just engage.
Mhm.
But again, knowing is half the battle, and understanding is half the battle, and that willingness to know. Willing. That wanting, that part that you have to do. You have to do something too. You have to want to know, and you have to be willing to know. And if it is for you to know, and again, you vibrate with it, then you'll know.
Yes, definitely.
It'll show. It'll show
Yes.
itself. So, Thank you, thank you,
Yes.
thank you, guys. And we still got some people here. Yeah, we still got some people. Thank y'all for watching. Definitely thank you for being here. If you have any questions, again, always here to welcome, always welcome here to
Yes.
place them there in the chat or on any other short or channel that we have. Definitely thank you, thank you, thank you for the support. Like, share, subscribe, y'all. And until next time, much love, much love, much love, y'all.
Yes.
Stay conscious,
All right.
conscious family.
Yes.
Yes, conscious life.